What's up, YouTube? Eugene here, joined by my fellow fragrance enthusiast, Daniel. Back again. Say hello, Daniel.
Hello, Daniel.
Not like that, but it'll do. So we've had Daniel on before, and we had such a great time, I thought, let's do it again. And you've been at a recent Toronto Sniffathon. You've met founder of Zoologist Perfumes, Victor, there. Got to hang out with him, got some samples, and we've just been going over them, and we thought we'd look at Squid, which is a recent winner of the Fragrance Foundation Awards.
Was that Fragrance Extraordinaire?
Perfume Extraordinaire of the Year.
Yeah.
So, first of all, congratulations to Victor and Zoologist Perfumes. Pretty big achievement. Are you familiar with Squid?
No, so I sort of briefly smelled the line years ago, and my impression was I can't just like sniff this line, assess it, and move on. Like, they're interesting, they're complex. I'm gonna have to like properly sit down and get to know the line. But it has been a bit hard to get a hold of because really it is sort of an indie line. It's a niche line.
Right. They're not. Yeah, they're not easily accessible.
Yeah. But Victor actually is local, although I hadn't really met him. But he came to the meetup and he brought samples for everyone, which was very generous and very nice. And you and I were talking about it. You own a few of the bottles. We kind of looked through the samples, and then we thought, let's do Squid because the category of what it's in is kind of interesting. It just won this award. It seems sort of notable.
And it's getting a lot of talk and got me very curious because I'm not generally a fan of, I don't know, is this listed as an aquatic, the genre?
I guess you can call it aquatic. Yeah.
Kind of a wet fragrance, but aquatic to me, it symbolizes fresh, which I can't imagine. Zoologist Perfumes doing a freshy type,
I'm sure they've
wet,
done their
cucumbery, fruity, ozonic, kalone.
Yeah, and there's sort of like, I mean, when you think of like aquatics, there's a range of like, you can just get salt water, like Healy's got his Selma Around thing, and you've got like Creed's and Melisame and Perriel, that's maybe more like a fruity, like that melony thing, or something like, you kind of think of like fresh, clean, salty water. But I've also smelled ones that are much more like oceanic, and so it's like rotting sea kelp, like if you'll get like Bulgari, aquamarine, or something,
which are semi-interesting.
Yeah,
we shouldn't say too much because I don't know what.
I don't know what this one is. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
What it's going to turn out to be like, but I mean, there are some interesting. I like that seawater, that Apis Marine from Hermes, or even the Bulgaris, as you mentioned.
Like, they're notable, but as niche houses, I don't know too many niche fragrances that are aquatic. Like, meaning Apis Marine amongst Hermescence is kind of unique in the line.
It's aquatic, but it's not. There's a lot of depth there. There's spices and woods.
Right, and I think that makes it much more interesting. It saves it from just being fresh salt water.
It's fresh with depth, and it's interesting.
Let's see what Zoologist did with it. And also, by the way, can we talk about the packaging for a second here?
Right.
You own some of the bottles. Newer and older packaging. They've done a few, I think, transitions over the years with the packaging, and then they have like special editions like this. This is the T-Rex
limited edition.
Yeah, limited edition. We were just talking about, I think there's like a limited edition of what's the new
Deer
one?
Musk.
Musk Deer? Yeah. Musk Deer, that's like the golds one that looks beautiful. That's really nice.
I have to say, some of my favorite packaging in the niche game.
Did you see B? The B one that was like
limited
edition, edition that was yellow
with
and
the
black.
Honeycomb. Did it have honeycomb?
Yeah,
on
it did. I think. Yeah, it was beautiful.
The graphics, the packaging itself.
Yeah, just quality. Like, the bottles are hefty. Everything's well built. Like, even their samples are like, sometimes you get lines that are like good, but the samples are junk. These sample cards are beautiful. The sprayers are good. Like, it's just the quality really, I think, comes through.
I've noticed on some of the newer releases, there's an added sleeve, and I think it's got a blurb about the perfumer on the back, which is great, giving credit to the perfumer and a little bit of spotlight. So I like to see that a lot. What else? Should we smell this?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I'm curious to see how it goes. Like, it fits in amongst the line, at least my impression of what I know of the line. But yeah, let's go for it. See what it is.
So, all right, Squid, do you want to read the blurb, or should we spray it first?
Let's just blind
get into it.
Yeah. So I was we did.
So
this,
blue does symbolize fresh, not fresh, but oceanic, watery. I guess fresh. You know, when I see blue, I'm thinking cool water or what else is, you know, I'm not thinking Bleu de Chanel for some reason, but
I think also, like, you know, one of the sort of, I guess, criticisms that I have of like us as enthusiasts is I feel like if you're in, say, like the wine industry, it's very well known that there's a very good like flexing, like a very good vernacular. There's a lot of descriptors, and there's a good like technical ways of assessing fragrances that like the novices come in and they learn how to describe fragrance. The problem is, like, even like us, like we've smelled a lot of stuff, but sometimes we're even at a loss where we're just using a word like fresh. And like when I worked at a store and a person would come in and say, give me a fresh fragrance, I'd say, what do you mean by fresh? Like, do you mean citrus? Because like I'd spray stuff and it would be like a woody, spicy scent, and like, oh, that's so fresh. And I'd go, that's a woody scent. That's not like an aquatic or a citrus or a like, or
something
green florals to me are fresh.
Or soothing.
Yeah, and so they would take a creamy barbershop scent and they'd say that's fresh. So I'm like, what, you know, so even us, like, we're talking about fresh as though aquatic is fresh, but it's so hard to even come up with good vernacular to describe it.
Somehow I'm getting a feeling that this isn't going to be fresh, regardless of the color.
I'm sure zoologists has taken it their own direction, and that's and just won an award. So like, I'm sure it'll be kind of interesting. Let's
extraordinaire of the year. Yeah. Okay, so let's give this a whirl.
Not to like raise hopes too much, but like, yeah, let's see what they've done with it. And can I also just point out, like, this was something, you know, I was talking about with one of the previous videos, which is that, like, I think on the back end, like behind the scenes, sometimes you get like, I think a lot of people who review things, and this isn't a criticism, but I think they've read the notes already. I think they know what's in it. They know what to expect. They kind of have read the story, because when they jump on the camera, they kind of are expecting to know what they want to talk about. Whereas like some of the ones that you and I are doing, like, we know nothing about this. And so like, we maybe was just listing off notes or ingredients or impressions, and it could be like that we're totally off. Like, I was smelling something last time and I said it smelled like soy sauce, and like like it just, I don't know, like that's just what came to mind. So, and it's as much stuff as like I've smelled or you smelled, sometimes you just don't know what's in it, and you're just sort of guessing at an impression, and it's very hard to do. Like, I think a lot of the people who jump on and they're listing off 10 notes and ingredients right away, they've read the note breakdown, they know what they're looking for.
I've never smelled squid before or worn it, but this is very peppery and briny to me right off the top, and I get some kind of saltiness, but I don't get freshness at all. Like, it doesn't remind me of the ocean. But this might be like squids are very deep, lurking animals.
This is
very
briny
aloof
and dank. This is like an old fishing boat. This is like a dock, you know, like it's briny but dank. Like I'm smelling like the color of the juice is like teal. Like, it's not like cool water where it's a bright blue. It's like a dark browny, brackish, you know, dank kind of aquatic. So yeah, I'm definitely getting spices, maybe like a bit of floral, but yeah, it's dark and spicy.
It's more woody than it is aquatic.
Yeah, there's definitely that salt water kind of thing, but I wouldn't say it's I don't know that I'd call it fresh.
No, it doesn't feel. I get pepper and frankincense.
Yeah,
like, and that's, you know, smoky frankincense and the deep blue sea just really.
Yeah. You know, like, maybe I'm just reading into the story, but in a way, I'm kind of picturing like, it's like if this like you're in the habitat of this like aquatic character. Like, it's like you're in his home, and like this is what his home would smell like. Like, it's kind of like old ocean, you know, kind of like, I don't know, it's somehow like, or it's like the robe of this character, this like squid guy, but it's sort of,
there is something murky to it, something mysterious.
Yeah, it's murky, dank, dark pools. Yeah, I don't know that there's been like that much sort of, let's call it, innovation in the aquatic category. Like, I thought, like, I remember smelling marine apiece, and I was like, okay, let's see what Hermes will do with a marine aquatic kind of thing. And true to form, they did that, but they backed it up with a lot of sort of spices, and it kind of takes that like Cartier Declaration Elena kind of idea, where it's sort of fresh on the one side, but quite like spicy and dark on the undertone that kind of counterbalances it.
It's got a little bit of that seaweed accord to it.
Yeah.
Like, so actually, it's more marine seaweed.
Yeah. So yeah, that seemed, and so as far as like aquatics go, I don't know that there've been that many interesting ones over the years.
No. But I wouldn't, you know, smelling this off first impression, I wouldn't call this an aquatic. Like, aquatic wouldn't even come to mind.
Exactly.
This to me is a woody, spicy.
Yeah, with the sort of
this murkiness. It's got kind of this leathery, ambery
I smell as
undertone.
much brown as I do blue, and the blue that I smell is like a dark blue. It's not like a bright crystal blue.
It's not a fresh blue.
Yeah, it's a dark blue.
Like pepper and frankincense are the first two things that come to my mind.
Yeah, I get spices. Yeah.
And woods. Maybe even some ambers, which is weird because I'm having a hard time picturing an amber accord in a oceanic type theme.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying like the language, the descriptors sort of escape us because we keep calling it like marine or aquatic, but it's definitely not really aquatic. So I guess we can call it marine. Like, I don't know.
The vast ocean, ocean, swells and contracts, caught in the relentless tug of the moon. Beneath the surface, a school of squid emerge.
It's almost like the ocean at night. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're on the beach.
Well, this is the deep blue ocean. This
yeah.
isn't surface, top of the surface.
It's like you're in a submarine and it's cold and it's dank and there's a drip.
There's no sunlight getting down to the bottom of
Yeah,
this ocean.
yeah.
They are not alone. Strange elastic forms propel from the deep in a frantic search for sustenance. They are not alone. Their predators lunge, only to be failed by blinding jets of murky ink. The hurt ends abruptly and a monolith materializes, greedily engulfing all in its path. The massive sperm whale dives, leaving a temporary piece bobbing in its wake. Decades on, relics of the battle resurface. Lumps of ambergris.
I was gonna say, I wonder if there's like an ambergris base note that shows up later.
Expelled by the whale and polished by salty currents washes. I get a lot of salt.
Yeah, right. So that's what I was gonna say. It's marine-like in that it is sort of salty, but it's none of the fresh saltiness. It's dark. It's dank. It's and again, I also don't get like a funky fish note. So there's none of that.
No.
Like I'm not getting any like caviar-ish funky fish. But I do get like, and I don't get exactly say like
it's not
seaweed,
fishy seaweed.
And it's not green,
I don't get that.
so
But
it's
it
not
is
like iodine. Yeah,
it is very briny. Squid sings a song of the sea, a melancholy tale told through the tangy brine, crisp incense and sweet cloudy ink, all united by the moody aroma of ambergris.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. If this sounds like it's up your alley, if this sounds like kind of... I think, like I said, I don't really...
It is very interesting.
I don't generally go for, like, sort of aquatics, let's call them, but this seems to be different from that. And
it's
not
far from aquatic.
Yeah, and it's not really even a category where there seems to be a lot of interesting new things coming out, so I think this is a bit of a standout.
I can't say I get ambergris, like, right off the top.
Yeah, but it's
I don't get that warm, sensual funk to it, but... It's mostly spices and woods.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Slightly churchy, like very slightly in the back.
I was gonna say something like an incensey, but I not same thing like ink, incense. I can't exactly pinpoint it, but there's something in there that's lingering. Because when they said ink, I'm kind of thinking, okay, is there some sort of inkiness?
It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And well made.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something that like you can get people who make this concept but use bad ingredients. The quality of the ingredients I think also comes through. Like it seems very well blended.
Yeah,
like there's nothing that's weirdly sticking out.
It's very
there's
rounded.
no like terrible synthetic that like one thing that just jumps up and you go, oh, there's too much of that synthetic in there.
There's no weird hum or buzz to it.
I think he hires a mix of perfumers who do meaning it's not just like one or two people who do the whole line. I think there's a whole mix of people in there.
Yeah.
But the work all seems to be like pretty high quality too.
Celine Barel.
Yeah. Neat. Yeah.
I would absolutely wear this.
Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't.
I would absolutely.
But I think it's very good. I just don't. There's not my kind of style of fragrance. But I don't have anything that's like this. I think in a way that's part of what the line is about. Like there's amongst we were talking about like what this line is and where it fits in, and it seems to really be a good example of like kind of modern niche, which is it's like almost like niche for niche people. Like meaning it's not trying to be accessible or like easy to wear kind of things. They seem to be a collection of like very interesting, specific kind of stories, and like you'll find the story in here that relates to you that you've never found anywhere else. You've never been able to smell it anywhere. You've never found the thing that encapsulates your unique kind of style or story. But in this kind of a line, you'll find it where you'll be like, I've always looked for a fragrance that does this, and here you'll find it.
Right. Well, they definitely have a vision, and they've kept on their tracks where a lot of niche brands kind of fall to the wayside and kind of seek out that that fortune and fame, and
or there's duds in the line, like often, like I'm surprised that like there's this many in the line, and from what I've heard, like none
most
of them are bad.
there's
no duds. Like
yeah.
there's loyal fans for like each of these fragrances.
Yeah, very.
And they
unique.
all seem like pretty consistent with the styling of what the line is.
I'd love to see what this does on skin now.
Yeah.
It's great on paper.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cool.
If you've smelt Squid, let us know your thoughts. I'm really curious. Always love reading your comments. Please say hello to Daniel, and we'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching. Say bye.
Bye, guys. See ya.